At one point, a number of years ago, I don't know, 5 years ago maybe, we were teaching 2,200 lessons a week. We had a staff of 85. There was a farmer by the name of Bill Mullica, and he had 3 sons, and they had kids. So it was quite a big family. And they apparently had taken up skiing around 1950, and they used to go out to Snow Valley to ski. And Bill Mullica was fairly inventive, and he decided instead of paying money for all of his kids and grandkids to go skiing, that he would put up a rope tow in his farm field. So that's how Maple Ski Ridge started. And his 3 sons were very capable, so together the family put up a rope tow. This was 50 years ago. In the meantime, I had received my certification in teaching from the United States Eastern Amateur Ski Association, which was the biggie at the time for professionals. And had started Schenectady Ski School. I'll tell you how the name came about. I ordered my first pair of skis from Howard Head. And in the conversation he said, "What do you want engraved on them?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." And I said, "What about SSS?" And he says, "What does that stand for?" And I said, "Schenectady Ski School." So that is how my ski school got the title. Well, in any event, this was after my certification, and I started teaching lessons to my friends, my lady friends, and then their kids, and then their husbands, all on the municipal golf course. I can't remember what tee it was that had a little bit of a pitch to it, and that's where all the classes were held. And this was probably about in 1952. And at one point somebody came up to me and said, "Well, have you heard about..." Oh, and then when the classes got to be more advanced, after the beginner snowplow stage, there was this rope tow in Pattersonville that I think that the Wintersports Club had put up. And so then I took the more advanced classes out to that ski hill. Then I was told about this rope tow on Mariahville Road. So I went out and checked it out, and I remember walking in and saying, "How would you guys like to have me teach some ski lessons here?" And they said, well, they thought that would be okay. And then they said, "Well, maybe we better charge people to use the rope tow." So that's how Maple Ski Ridge and Schenectady Ski School got started. Maple Ski Ridge has proved a very valuable asset to the area. Cobble Mountain, I'd forgotten all about yet. Yes, that came in as competition. And in fact, the ski school director, who was there for a number of years, can't remember his name, he was from Canada, but it was never a satisfactory teaching area. I know that the owners had come and tried to get me and my husband to offer lessons there, and of course the Moluccas didn't want any competition, and they said, if you give lessons out there, we won't like it. So, but in any event, we went out and explored it, and the terrain was great for giving you a little bit more momentum because it had a better pitch. But the beginner area, which is what Maple Ski Ridge is so famous for, was not satisfactory.
In Schenectady County, you mentioned the Studebaker and the little toe. Who was the family in Duanesburg that had that?
It was more personal, and all I can remember is that she was my schoolmate. Her name was Betty Stoodley, and she married this guy who built the rope tow, and I frankly don't remember her married name. I clearly remember Wolf Hollow, and I remember those rope tows that the Wintersports Club had put up. There was a zig and a zag. If you're going from the bottom, one rope tow went up this way, and you had to be very quick and be going very fast because you had to let go of it and glide uphill to the next half of the rope tow and grab on. Anyway, that had to be in 1950 something, early 50s. My early skiing was all out here in the Rotterdam Hills, and these are the trails that were designed by Otto Schneebs. And I really have lost my recall on the names of the trails. My father did a lot of filming, and I can remember in one of the films, he took a picture of me diving head first into the woods. And there was a racing trail. It was called the Quarry Trail. And I remember saying, well, I'm not up to skiing on that racing trail. No, it was in Rotterdam Junction. To get there, I guess I was probably in the neighborhood of 12 at this point, and obviously independent because my parents let me go with a couple of my friends. And I can remember getting all geared up and my skis, and with a couple of friends, we went down to Wendell Avenue and waited for the trolley. So we loaded ourselves onto the trolley, got down into downtown Schenectady, got off that trolley, transferred to another trolley that went up on the Amsterdam side of the river. We got off at lock, would that be lock 9, 8, 9? I can't remember. Crossed the bridge over the river and trucked through Rotterdam Junction and up to the railroad tracks. I remember crossing the railroad tracks very clearly. That's where the 890 runs at the present time. And off we went. There was the East Meadow and the West Meadow and the Quarry Trail, and I can't remember the name of the other one. But we had our lunch, and we were quite independent at that stage, and this was my early life on skis.
Hickory Ridge?
Yeah, a few times. In fact, that is where my daughter Christina made her first turn on skis when I think she was 3 or 4. I can remember being excited and yelling to my husband, "Oh, look at Christy, she's making a turn." But Hickory Hill was not one of my favorite places. It's very steep and very bumpy, and you had to really be an outstanding skier to be able to ski it, and that was not my cup of tea.
Wasn't there, or was there something at West Mountain?
No, West Mountain certainly was not there. And I'm trying to think. There were two ski areas. Well, you know what? There was a tow, a rope tow that was put in out in Glenville. There's a swimming club out there. I can't remember the name of it now. Oh, of course. Oh, yes, I remember. I think there were ski meets there. I can remember starting down that trail, and it was narrow, and there was it was an L turn, and there was a huge big tree right at that corner, and it was always a little bit nervousing whether you were going to avoid that tree and make that first turn down the mountain. More, I think it was called Cobble Mountain, where there was a rope tow where there was the high school competition races. I recall the fact that it was not far from the club golf course. And of course, the same is true. There was no downhill skiing at that time. Whiteface didn't exist, of course. But the Lake Placid Club was an absolute wonderful, wonderful memory. They had a skating rink out back, and we have movies of me pushing my grandmother in a Swedish sled that was used on the ice. It was it was a chair, actually, that older people sat in, and you pushed them around on the ice, and that was lots of fun. And there was another thing that still remains in my memory, and that is going out in the woods looking for the Yule log. So the children were all dressed in red capes, and we had to go find the Yule log that was buried someplace out in the woods and hauled in for the Christmas Eve celebration.
So somebody would go and hide it in the snow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That sounds pretty difficult.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a big area.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And my father had movies of all this, so this is why I remember them so clearly.